I'm having a wonderful time. The people are terrific. It's great to be back in Dublin. In the late 70s, I did a Broadway show opposite Jack Lemmon called Tribute. Now, Joe Dante saw the play. He was casting the werewolf role in The Howling. Now, how he saw me play an angry juvenile opposite Jack Lemmon in a Broadway show and thought, that's my werewolf, I don't quite know. But I went in, I met him, I read for it. I think I really creeped out the casting director who I read with, and I was cast as Eddie Quist. So it was fun to be in that, and Joe, of course, has that amazing subversive sense of humor where he can scare you 1 minute, make you laugh the next, and then while you're laughing, scare you again. And then Joe and I hit it off. I did a lot of goofing around between takes, and he decided I was a funny guy. And then he just started to offer me roles pretty much in everything he did. Unfortunately, and quite stupidly on my part, the very next role he offered me was a part in Gremlins, the first one. But he was going to create a one-day role for me, but because there was nothing on paper, I thought, I don't want to be an extra in a movie, so I said no to him, and he was mad at me for a while. I did not yet understand that Joe likes to populate his movies with the same acting company of actors that he enjoys working with, putting them in different roles, so he just wanted me to be in Gremlins. And that's one of my great regrets, is that I didn't just say, absolutely, I'll do whatever you want, which I now do. Well, you know, the obvious choice, considering the end of Gremlins 2, would be that Gremlins 3 would involve some sort of human gremlin offspring. I have heard that they've been trying for some time to reboot the franchise. Whether or not they would stunt cast any of the brilliant performers from the earlier two movies, I have no idea. I have admitted this in the past to Star Trek fans. I did not know a lot about Star Trek when I got the role. I begged their forgiveness. I've thrown myself at the feet of the faithful and said, now I understand. You know, thank you, Gene. I understand what it means to so many people, Star Trek. But at the time, I didn't really know much about Star Trek, which means that when I auditioned for the Doctor, I didn't really know what the joke was. I didn't understand what a good character he could become. I mean, I understood the basic premise that he was a piece of technology with a bad attitude, but I didn't quite get why. It wasn't until the second episode where Kes comes down to sickbay and is trying to get soil samples. The Doctor has been being used for things he's not designed for. He's quite pissy about that he is, you know, has this amazing body of knowledge. He's this amazing resource. And yes, here's your dirt. And that moment of realizing that he felt that he deserved so much more than he was being given, so much more respect that he was accorded. So that was my first insight into what made him tick. I mean, I made a bunch of suggestions to the writers. Some of them they liked, some of them they didn't. But I guess the best one I ever made was that the Doctor fashioned himself the best teacher of how to be human with 7 of 9. That he would outrank a real human in teaching her how to reclaim her humanity. And that turned into a wonderful 4-year story arc for our two characters that I am very happy. I opened my mouth up because then I got to stand next to Jerry Ryan and gaze into those baby blues. In Renegades, they originally approached me to play the Doctor, and I think the way Brent Spiner does, that because our characters were not supposed to age, that it sort of wasn't fair to their legacy to play them anymore. Even with those stupid things written in about how, well, we've, you know, so other people around you don't feel bad, we have altered your program to make you look older. Yeah, right. So I didn't want to do that, but I did say I would play Louis Zimmerman, and I had a much, much bigger role in the movie than I finally ended up doing. I was cast in a revival of 12 Angry Men, a play I've always wanted to do. So when that came along, I called the producers of Renegades and said, I can no longer shoot for you 5 or 6 days. How do we cut me down to 1 day? And what they did is they basically divided my character and gave most of my dramatic function to Sean Young. And I became her sort of mentor and lover in the movie. So I just came in for a few hours just to make out with Sean Young, which also turned out to be a good choice. Stargate Atlantis, yes, Mr. Woolsey. That kind of character, the guy you love to hate, or the character that you initially dislike, but then because of his neuroses or his foibles, you grow to like him in spite of his first impression, is a kind of role that I have sort of specialized in, going back to Coach Cutlip on the Wonder Years. But on Stargate, I think they had no intention of redeeming me. They first introduced me as sort of a one-off villain. And then the producers liked me and decided, oh, we painted ourselves in the corner by bringing this guy in here with absolutely no redeeming qualities. So then they slowly started to rehabilitate him, and then eventually he became the leader of the expedition, which I think was shocking. But the fan base seemed to accept Woolsey's development, let's say, as a leader.
So tell us, how are you enjoying the column so far?
There's a lot of costumes, there's a lot of cosplay and gaming, none of which I understand, but I like seeing other people have fun. And I encourage everyone to come to ArcadeCon because I've never seen people having this much fun.